How are you doing? It is morning and we've made it. I am here and I am ready to go. Let me see if I can get a little bit bigger. There we go. Nice. How have you guys been doing? I'm going to be a little low because other people in the household are asleep. So we're taking a quick break after most of the night sprinting. I know that I'm happy with progress because I actually am almost finished with book 5. So at this point, it's mainly just the co-author, Dawn, who is going to need to put some stuff in between where I've tagged her. And then we'll be able to send the last section to the beta readers. I'm really excited. Really excited. Anyway, let me see if I've got the chat set up over here. Yay, it's working. Kay on duty for us today. Putting in the links, making sure everybody's happy. Hello, Jacqueline. I got to see you this morning. Keiko, hello. Have dishes to do. Let me check this out real quick. I have not adjusted my little message thing over here, so I'm going to leave Keiko's message up there for just a minute so I can come down here. Once I adjust it, it's going to be better, but until you adjust it, it's a little small. I wanted to adjust it a little bit. There we go. It's a little bit better. Okay. Now. Okay, making sure everybody's feeling welcome. Thank you, thank you. And then most important, what are you guys working on? Hello, Sarah. Sarah also has a lovely channel like this. Don't forget to check out the links. We have a survey going on. There's also a playlist. Usually if you go to a stream on the playlist, then when one stream ends, it'll automatically pop up the next stream. So that's cool. Yes, there is a sprinting marathon going on. We are trying to make sure that there's either a sprint session going on or a break session going on for the entire week. And so far, I think we've done pretty good. It is called the Authortube Under 1K Marathon. And I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but I'm seeing multiverse vibes too. What is going on? Maybe I shouldn't move around so much. We are having lag today. So YouTube was doing this yesterday too. I'm answering in the chat just in case. Let me see if I can maybe help out with that. If need be, I will just kind of go off camera and let you guys see something else. How about we do this? Can you at least hear me, or is that a no-no too? Okay, so the audio seems to be fine. Well, if necessary, I can always just give us some questions for fun and get rid of the confetti that seems to be out of control. Let's see. There we go. Just pretend I'm here. How about that? That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. It's party up in here. It was. Look at that. That's great. It's fine. Everything's going to be just fine. How about that? I'm just going to move the questions over and we'll do it that way. All right, let's see if that works. I looked over there and I was like, what is going on with my camera? Oh boy. Anything moving then? Let me see. Let me find my ads. Bye-bye ads. We didn't need ads after all. It's fine. Okay. Hopefully, I'll be able to pull up, if necessary, I can see if I can do the game. If I can't do the game, which would be our, timer game, and if the timer doesn't work on here, I'll see what I can do about getting just a regular timer like I used to, like HK's or Laura's timer. That'll be fine. Is your camera plugged in all the way? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's not that. It's something else. So I'll have to troubleshoot it later. We did have problems with the camera at one time, just cutting out, like it would just click off. But this is a different camera than that, so gotta love this. It's fine. Not quite Neo, maybe Ario. I love it. Okay, the highlight. Let me see if I can find the highlight. I do want to be able to pull your stuff up here when I can. And that is a very simple widget to do, but let's see. Chat highlight. Hopefully it won't break everything. That would be bad, right? Message highlight. Let's see if that works. And it doesn't make everything kind of freak out. That'd be bad. We have a bubble radius. Can you see that? I can see it. Okay. There, that's better. Ta-da! Okay, so I just went ahead and found some questions to use so we can chat, and then we can look at the questions. So I'm going to go ahead and get at least the question up here so you guys can be answering it if you want to. Have you ever Googled yourself? What'd you find, if you don't mind sharing? That is the first question. That's the first question. Because as an author, or the idea is if you're on BookTube or Authortube, you want to make sure that when you Google yourself, you find stuff that relates to you, if possible. So it's a legit question, and it's also like, what did you find if there was something different and if it was amusing? Hey, Elsa. Glad to have you back. Let's see. Were you resizing the message highlight? Yes. I mean, I was just resizing the message highlight. Let's fix this. So K's up here. Oh. Yes. Laugh out loud. I've found there are a few of me out there, and then I've been quite prolific with writing. I found that out. And I found out that the person that comes up if you don't put the D in Rachel D. Adams is very much more intelligent than me, I think. She does high-level reports and research. Yes, I am not unique. There are many Jacqueline Kirks out there. And then, of course, when I Googled myself, Rachel McAdams comes up a lot too. Speaking of Doctor Strange. I know someone who Googled their author name and was very worried about what came up. Ooh. Yes, I found another person with exactly the same name living here in the Netherlands. As far as I know, she's not an author, but just in case, I decided to include the MJ. I should say, though, the other me's are with my real name. Okay, so K is, on the other hand, is not. So you have kind of come up with your own pen name by using a nickname, and that's cool. Apparently that name came up as a prominent Holocaust denier. Oh dear. Not sure how they managed that. Not sure you can come back from something like that. Especially if you get accidentally, people think that that's you. Hello, Tish. Multitasking, writing, editing, and sending support vibes to indie writers. Thank you so much. Tish usually has the best little cozy morning sprints. I'll have to toss her link up there unless Kate already has it. Definitely. K Parquet. Let's see. Right, got to pick your pen name, author name properly. That is bad. Very bad. Okay, it says the only people that call me by my real name are my hub's parents and in-laws. So it's kind of like one of those, when they call you by your real name, at least you don't get scared like a lot of us do when we get called by our real name. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm in trouble. I always do some broad keyword metadata searches before doing too much with a book project. Same. However, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have good luck with it. My book number 4 is called Vampires and Vendettas, and only a few months before I released Vampires and Vendettas, somebody else released a Vampires and Vendettas. The good thing was that I used the symbol for and in my titles, and they did not. So, and also it wasn't part of, as far as I can tell, it's not part of a series called the Dragon Tasker series. So that helped out. At least find what's not going to work. Yeah. And that is Tish's link. I mean, that person was obviously there before the book day was done. Yeah. And you really wouldn't want to be associated with such a person. Exactly. That would be pretty bad. No, don't get scared, but it does make me pause for a second because I'm not used to being called it. Right. Yeah. Mine has always been like when I was younger, I would get in trouble and they would use my entire name, including the D, out loud. The D, it actually stands for Diane. So, and I never, like I had one of those situations where I had an aunt that was named that, and I couldn't stand her. I couldn't stand being around her. And so I always thought, oh, I'll change my middle name, you know? And you never get around to it. So it is what it is. You guys make sure that you are hydrating. Make sure that you are, when you're getting your stuff out to start working on it, save it. Make sure that you're moving around while you can. We are going to go straight into sprints after we play around here for a little while. Just wanted to give everybody that's been sprinting a little bit of time for a break. Would you ever write a memoir? Or have you? Would you ever write a memoir? Or have you? My mom would do that too, call my full name. I always wondered if it was just a Southern thing, but then after I got to know more people from different places, I was told, nope, that's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah, when my middle name gets invoked, that means trouble. With capital letters. Save your stuff. 1 is none, 2 is 1. That's a good way to put it. I like that. I have written a memoir and it will never see the light of day. Okay. You have a point here. Have you written a memoir and actually pressed the publish key? That's more like it. I'd love to write a memoir, but fear it'd be exceedingly boring. I don't know. It was mostly for therapy and was cathartic, but I wouldn't dream of publishing it. What if you fictionalize most of it? I've seen a lot of people do that. Nah, I'd rather stay lost in my fantasy worlds. I'm kind of with you, Sarah. I don't know if I'm ever going to publish a memoir. I believe that I'm reaching the age right now where if I did publish a memoir, I would still try to fictionalize people. And I've often thought what I might do is just use my experiences and use those experiences in a fictionalized book. And then that way, some people might get it, but not many people would get it. I am, however, writing a memoir on my grandfather. I have 9 2-inch binders full of information on him, and my mom asked if I would. It's going to take me forever. Oof. I have been asked by 2 different people to write their memoir. But so if you are on that side of the situation where you're asking somebody to do it, even if they're fascinated by your story, you do have to do some of the work. And that's where I got to with the 2 people that wanted me to write their memoirs. They did have interesting stories to tell. It's not that. It's just that when you're writing someone else's story, you want to get it right, and you want to get it appropriately. An appropriate story there, or at least I did. And they only went so far, and they didn't give me much to go on, and I just felt like, well, what did you want me to just make the rest of it up? That may not be good. Rather than doing a memoir, I lean towards doing nonfiction, memoir light, focused on one topic. Yes. Devin, hello. Well, maybe. Okay. Morning, back from the bus stop. I have to say, I do not miss the bus stop days, y'all. Having been a parent, and also that kid that wound up at the bus stop at about 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning. That was not fun. With all the AI stuff around, I find pulling from personal experiences one of the key differentiating factors. Yeah. I feel like, and I could get on this little soapbox, especially like with Mama Maggie, and that that's the one thing that most people really, really like, and it comes down to Booktube and Authortube. I feel like the reason that those 2 things are still around at all is the fact that people like real. So when they see us giving them something real, our real reactions, and our talking to them, and they see, hey, this person is not just a name on a book, or this person is giving me their true opinions about this thing, and I'm reading it too. So it really, really, it makes a difference, or at least I like to think so. I don't think I would ever write a memoir. Too boring. See, and I'm one of those people that come across, I feel like I'm boring, but I know for a fact that stuff in my past is not so boring. So it would be kind of fun to see other people's opinions of it. 2.5 years to go. Yes. I like real too. Can't go wrong with bloopers because only humans bloop. Yes. True. I get comments a lot that the conversations in my books feel like real conversations with people that people would have, which is a great compliment. It is, and I enjoyed what I was reading in your books too. So, girl, you are far from boring. Well, I have a lot of the same experiences that a lot of other people have, at least nowadays. But I can tell you that in my younger years, oh wow. Oh wow. Let's just say I am extremely blessed that I'm still here. How many other people have that? Okay. Okay, so we went to see Grace and Makaha at the comedy club last week, was it? I think. Anyway, he's one of those guys that he does comedy online, and his shtick is he's married to a feral woman. And the happiest men are always married to the feral woman. Well, James got me the feral AF t-shirt. And he also got a hat that said, I'm sorry about my wife. He did that for a reason, and I can't fault it. LOL, I'll rephrase. Writing the memoir would be too boring for me. Been there, done that. Where are the dragons? I get that. Oh, I so get that. Yes. I was a wild goth teen. Ooh, I was the person who could float between different groups in high school, at least. I didn't have a core central group. Okay. So I got the tea from all the different directions. And it was fun. But mainly I was a nerd. I give myself that I was a nerd. I was a skater goth black with neon highlights. Wow. So definitely not boring. I was a total wild child from about the time I was 14 until about 34. Okay, see that I didn't hit my wild times because, well, I guess about 15 or 16 I did, because I grew up the child of parents who, though they were there, they were at arm's length there. So I pretty much, I had a job as soon as possible. And then once I got that feeling of independence of having my own car, which I paid for myself and half the time had to push to get it to start. But at least I was independent, and man, I was just out there. It was so much fun. I was asked to write a memoir biography for someone. He had been to several other authors already. I decided to do it. Think he was an interesting story to tell. Yeah, so like one of the persons that I was talking about is somebody that became a friend of mine. And when we were younger, I think I was in my 30s, I want to say, or just turned 40, somewhere around in there. And but right now I'm 51 and she's 78. But I miss her because we moved like 2.5 hours away from where she lives. But her life is fascinating. And I would love to finish that story, but I don't know if we're going to. LOL. My husband says I was wild until my 40s. Then I started to calm the F down, as he puts it. See, and I don't know that we've calmed down. I kind of think maybe those of us at that age or higher have just, decided to do this a certain way. Maybe we've gotten smarter about it. You think? I had a few friends here and there in different groups. I didn't float too far from the introverted comfort zone. I get that. I feel my early 20s were my wild times. Booze helped. Yeah. Out in the middle of a field. So why I said the thing about the feral, the dude that does the feral wife comedy. See, ADHD took me somewhere. we're coming back to it, is that he was talking about the fact that those of our generation and a little bit younger, number one, we didn't have phones that had cameras. Nobody could catch us, or hardly anybody could ever catch us. And we did things like, get toasted in the middle of a field somewhere and just wake up the next morning wondering what happened and how exactly we were going to get home. Yeah, the days. Hopping off for now. We'll catch more marathon bits later. Okay, Andy. Catch you later. I think when I got diagnosed with ADHD and understood my brain much better is when I started to calm down, because I wasn't all over the place working with it instead of against it. And I'm at that point now. Used to it didn't bother me as much, but once I found myself reaching a certain point with the hormones as well, I'm to that point now that I'm like, oh, I kind of need something I need a leash. I think I need a leash, guys. Thank you, Elizabeth, for following. I appreciate that. Thank goodness we didn't have phones back then. Yes. No phones, no cameras. Oh, my goodness. I would be in so much trouble if there was evidence. So much trouble. I have to admit that I was a daddy's girl and I didn't want to get in trouble and I didn't want to be less than the angel. So, yes, I have pulled some stuff. All right, let me see. Do you view writing or reading as a spiritual, therapeutic, or a conventional practice? Or multiples of those? Let us know. I'm curious. Because for me, it depends on the type of writing that I'm doing. Because I do some journaling, and I also draw cards and draw ogham stabs. And I would say that kind of stuff is more of a spiritual practice for me. But my main writing, especially my creative writing, is also very therapeutic. Oh, yeah. Going back up here real quick, honestly, I'm pretty sure my mom had no idea where I was during the daylight hours from about age 6 on. That's the truth, and people don't understand that. They don't believe us, y'all. They don't. It's taking a lot for them to believe us. I think that the fact that there was a commercial that would come on and ask the older generation, hey, do you know where your kids are? The fact that exists blows some people's minds. Latchkey kids for the win. Just be home before the street lights go out. Yes. 100%. Devin cuts school a lot as a senior mall rat. I lived in a small town. We didn't have anything like that to go to. So it was only on weekends and stuff, and we would head out to different places. Do you remember those commercials that came on late at night? Do you know where your children are? Exactly. See, and honestly, I didn't know that was a thing. I will be honest. When I was growing up in it, did not know that was a thing. It's only been since all these Gen X people have come out and said it, and then they showed it. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing. My answer to this one is all of the above. And that is do you view writing and reading as spiritual, therapeutic, or conventional? Those ads. All of the above for K2. Okay. I think I would go insane if I didn't write down the stories in my head. And reading is better than watching TV sometimes. Yes. I definitely agree. When I got the melanoma and there was a chance that I was going to lose my sight, it scared me. It scared me so bad because of this. I'm fairly certain half our parents were like, kids, I have kids. While they sip their bourbon. Mine were teetotalers, though. That's what gets me is, I don't know. I looking back on things, the fact that they didn't want us anywhere in the house and stuff, and my mom was a housewife, and my dad would get home probably around 4 p.m. every day, and I still couldn't come in except to like eat, and then they would expect us to leave. I was like, what were y'all doing? Or I don't know. Maybe I don't want to know what they were doing. It was crazy. I found my kid print in my mom's stuff when Blockbuster did the VHS recording in case you were taken off the street. Oh, wow. I remember those. All of us also had our own fingerprint cards. Do you guys remember that? Do they still do that? I think they still do that. It was a McGruff crime dog kind of thing when I was in my teen years. But earlier than that, they were doing it too. We each had like this card that had our most recent picture on it and our fingerprints. Oh God, the fingerprint cards. Yeah. Yep. I remember that. I was always like happy to do it because, you know, my dad was a cop, so it was a thing. And I thought, oh, this is so neat, you know. This is like my little taste of being a cop, you know, get my fingerprints taken and everything. You forgot about those too. My boys didn't get it done. Ah, McGruff. Yes, McGruff the crime dog. I remember the advent of Dare. I remember when my dad's county got their first Dare car. Oh my gosh, they were just like, there was mixed emotions about it from the cops. Well, the county, because they were like, on one side they were like, oh man, that's like the most up-to-date car we've got on the force. And then on the other side they were like, why is that the most up-to-date car on the force? Why is it that the Dare car is going to be the best car on our force and the rest of us have to drive these things, these old Fords? That was funny to me. Okay. So yeah, I agree with you guys when it comes to the writing. The therapeutic part for me, so I don't know if you guys experience this, but I actually get difficult to live with if I don't write. There have been times when I've not written for long periods, and I get really difficult to deal with. And because I've gotten so used to my friends who I write with, and not if I'm not able to write with them, there for a while we were in fan fiction groups and collaborative writing groups together, and I would act like an addict because I was constantly waiting on somebody to post back to me, to tag back to me, and it was interesting. I didn't realize, I realized it, and when I realized, I was like, this is fascinating. I was like doing my own case study. Like, oh wow, I didn't realize I was being that mean to people because I don't have anything to read. McGruff and Smokey the Bear. Only you can prevent forest fires. I can still hear his voice. Yes. You see, I even said it that way. Only you can prevent forest fires. I got more freedom later in my senior year in high school. My mom was paranoid, inner city Cleveland. We didn't have a life. Joined the Navy to escape. Ah. Same. Yeah, I've heard some people talk about that they had that kind of experience. Mine was kind of the opposite. But I was fifth in class when it came to GPA, and they felt like I was, headed for college. I was going to be the first person to go to college in my family. And, well, that fell apart. I did go to college. I didn't make it through college, but I went to college. The idea was there. Oh, let's see. We've got time for some more. This is more just reading stuff. What is your favorite underappreciated novel? And we can continue to talk about the other stuff too. I just wanted to make sure that we did have some questions pre-made and ready. I have memories of going wild and crazy. I think that I was kind of boring compared to a lot of people in my in my late teens and early 20s. And then I met the Hubs, and he had already been in the Navy. He'd already been through a war. And so he had more experience in everything than I did. And he's an extrovert. At the time, I was an introvert, much more of an introvert. So we were like kind of an opposites of track kind of people. And that kind of got us into trouble, or at least got me into trouble. Guys, I didn't know what an area code was until I was a senior. I wasn't allowed to use the phone, get on the internet, or have friends over. Oh, wow. That is very strict. Yeah. I mean, I was allowed all of that. Well, and I think part of it may be because we lived in a small town, but our family lived in closer to Birmingham, Alabama, which is the largest city in Alabama. Though we lived in a small town, I was a lot of times I would travel back and forth between our place and one of my aunt's houses because I had cousins, and I would go visit my cousins. So I kept the roads hot once I could afford it, and I knew all the back roads. And actually, that was the first time I had ever read. I keep up reading horror fiction and fantasy fiction, and I also loved mythology. So I would just go in the library and just get lost. But the first time I ever read romance was because my cousin and I found my aunt's secret stash of Harlequin and beyond romance books. Talk about an awakening. I think we were only maybe 13 or 14 at the time. I wasn't driving, obviously, at that time. It was one of those situations where I was spending the night with her, and we were helping my aunt clean house. And so we were going through everything, and I guess she forgot that it was back there. And we were just sitting there reading through, and she's like, "What?" So she had to take it away from us. But later she became our dealer. She let us borrow some of those books. Taltos by Stephen Burst. If you read him, then you know where my fascination for half-breeds came from. Tennis and Marcus. Oh, okay, I have to write that down. Because I find your throw on half-breeds, for one thing. But also the way that you do, the way that you write Dragonkind. So, yeah, Stephen Burst. Got it. Now, I read Anne Rice. I guess I got into her in high school and then kept going. So, that's where I get my ideas from when it comes to spiritual beings, and then Christopher Golden and stuff like that. Yeah. But I'm drawing a blank on the books in question, says Sarah. Yeah, I'm going to look it up. I used to hide out in the library reading big fat mythology books. Oh, same. Anything with creatures in it. I was always looking for things with interesting creatures. Okay, here's another question just popped in my head. Have you ever read a book that really, really held a special place in your heart, but now you can't find it and you can't figure out what it was? I've got one of those. Going back to my strange childhood, my roommate after boot camp had to show me how to use the washing machine, and my hubs taught me how to cook. Oh, wow. Really? The Belgarian and the Melorian by David Eddings. David Eddings. So, yeah, I'm looking up stuff. You know me. I got to look stuff up. Uh-oh. Yep. The TBR list grows. Good morning, babe. This is the hubs. So many Dragon S types in Taltos. He also wrote his books all out of order. So that comes in play here because now, okay, so the one that I'm going to give you guys is Moon Tiger by Penelope, I want to say Lively. Let me look that up to be sure. Yes, Penelope Lively. And it's actually kind of like a memoir. It's not fantasy per se. It's actually set during World War II, I believe. And it's about a woman who has stomach cancer. And it's all out of order. She's writing, I mean, in her mind, she's going back over all of her memories from childhood all the way up. But it's not linear, because when you are in a situation like that and you're just experiencing moments of lucidity between all of these memories, you're going back and living in your old life, in your old memories. They're not going to be in order, right? So the author actually wrote them out of order, and the entire time you're reading the book, you're trying to put together the order. You're trying to put together what happened when, and it was just fascinating for me to read. I loved it. So I always say Moon Tiger, because it'll take you out of reality, even though it is a historic, partially a romance, partially memoir, you know. Oh, look at there. Somebody named Jacqueline loves the Taltos books. So you're not alone. James read growing up. He often read Casca by Barry Sadler. There was a book that touched my heart, and I can't even remember the name or the author of it. A portal sci-fi fantasy from the 70s or 80s. It was out of print by the time I borrowed from Mom. Yeah, I have one it was actually a children's book, but the way it was written, it was so sad. It was about a unicorn, but it was so sad, and it was so beautiful. Like the illustrations were gorgeous in that book, and I have yet to be able to find it again. I've often thought maybe I would do something similar, but I don't want to copy it, you know, but at the same time, changing it to YA or an adult book, but using that the premise that was in that book. A lot of Taltos themes and David Eddings themes are heavily influenced in my book. Okay. I love the Black Jewels series by Anne Bishop, but never really hear people talking about them. Oh, I ran out of room. I'm going to have to get another piece of paper. You guys can't see me going crazy over here trying to write stuff down. Anne Bishop. And hint, hint, Rachel Adams, Taltos, the ancestor, and the capital of my country, almost the same person. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. I want to see your Taltos' story. You did fascinate me with that. I can't think of any, but Catherine Kurtz was an author I followed for a long time with the Drini series. I may have said that wrong. Sorry. I still have my old copies that are now falling apart. Ooh. There was another book about unicorns that I wish I could find. So the premise on this one was basically that someone's pain from their heart caused them to cry over a flower, and when the teardrop hit the flower, that's how a unicorn was created. So I just thought it was beautiful. The illustrations in that book were beautiful, but it had an entire story to it. That was just the basics that I just told you there, and I just thought, as I was growing up, I kept trying to find it again, and I couldn't find it. I also think that Sharon K. Penman isn't talked about much, and she does excellent historical fantasy. Ooh. Sharon K. Penman. See, I shouldn't ask questions like this. Or Guy Gabriel K. So, and James is saying, hey to everybody. Hello. All right. Well, those were the ones that I felt. The Moon Tiger by Penelope Lively, to me is something I had never heard of it, and I got the pleasure of being in someone's class, and I can't even remember the professor's name, but I commend him on how he taught. What he did was, and he was an English professor, right? But how he taught was he would teach the history first, then he would make sure and teach us the artwork that happened surrounding that history. And when he did that, then he would bring in the poetry that happened around that history, that time frame, and also the literature that happened around that time frame, so that we got the full view of what happens. History affects art. Policy affects art. Politics affects art. Everything that's happening socially affects art. And that's not just paintings and sculpture, but also poetry, writing, music. So he made sure that we got the full effect, and he taught us everything from Dubliners through, I think he touched on Tolkien, and then just moved on. And the Penelope Lively book happened to be one that he had chosen for a specific time frame. And also poetry. He was really big on making sure we also read poetry from different time frames, including World War I and World War II, and the differences. So I thought that I would share that with you guys. Taltos and the First Rigdons will be a standalone that starts with the shipwreck on Isle Shores. Ooh, working title, Isle Shores. That's a very good title. I would be interested in that. My latest short was influenced by the pull of social media and how it takes over our lives. Hey, yeah, talk about that. That's a definite. All right. There would normally be somebody coming on at this point, and I would be like, oh, hey, guys, we need to let them do their thing. But I am going to be your host for the sprints too. Surprise! Let's hope that we do not have a problem with this. Let me go up here. I'm going to see if the countdown is affected by our insane magic that we're pulling up here. It looks okay so far. Let me look. How long do I have you guys? From 7 to 8 at this point? Okay. So 2 30-minute sprints, you think? Would you guys be happy with that? The multiverse madness, right? Okay, so here's what's funny, and James can back me up on this. Guess who my favorite Marvel character is? Guess who my favorite Marvel character is? Anybody? Let me make this bigger. I got to give it room first, and then I have to go over to controls. Font size. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay. That's going to be as big as it wants to get. That's fine. We're fine with that. As long as you work, sir. All right. So, not Doctor Strange. Close. The Scarlet Witch. Yes. The Scarlet Witch is my favorite Marvel character. And I think she gets a bad rap. I think that they treat her so badly in the comics. They did a better job, I believe, in the MCU. But at the same time, I still feel bad, for her. And I'm really, really, really stoked to see her children. I really got into Tommy and Billy. I wrote them in fan fiction in our groups. And of course, Dawn wrote X-23. And James was even in the groups every once in a while, and he wrote Victor Creed. So we were really, really into the Marvel Universe via fan fiction. And so when the MCU came out, we were just like, oh, what are they going to do? What are they going to do with our characters? As if we owned the characters. I like the Scarlet Witch in the series was so good. Oh yeah, I really liked that. The miniseries, it really, really hit the right spots for me because a lot of us grew up watching some of those shows that they used. It was kind of sad when they went over why she was so focused on those though. Yeah, you write bad boys. Yeah, you do. That's okay. I'm not complaining. All right, we're going to take a 30-minute sprint. Going, gone. All right, everybody, that was the first 30-minute sprint. How did you do? And I see a cat over here. Since we're done with that sprint and waiting on everybody to comment, I'll just go ahead and put this up here for you. Kat is the creator of For the Love of Words challenge in February. So if you want to know more about that, I believe I left a link in the description. If not, I'll be happy to add the link to the description after we're done here. I need to catch up on actually adding the word count to my challenge because I have slacked off on that. I have not slacked off on the words. I have not, but I have slacked off on keeping track. I'm horrible about that. And James even gave me trackers, and I even have trackers in my Notion, and still didn't do it. I think I got the first week handled, but that's it. Oh well. I wanted to show you guys the cuteness that is the JoJo. My puppy dog. My old lady. Let me see if I can pull that up. Sorry, the changing of the weather has left me just going crazy with the throat clearing and stuff, so I apologize for that. There's my JoJo. Hopefully you can see it. That's what she was doing earlier when I got up. And as soon as I got up, she was like, ooh, breakfast? Hey, cat. Okay, spent the sprint getting ready for sprints. I put the link in our chat for that, and I also put the link for Laura's sprints. Hashtag SHU Stream Hoppers Unite. Dawn was grabbing a shower and getting ready for the doctor's appointment. Yay, you is right. Hopefully you will get your staples out today. Woohoo! I know those are horrible. Horrible at keeping count of words. Yeah, we get on a roll and we just don't think about it. And then it's like, for you guys that don't know, Dawn and I are collaborative writers, and so what we do is we may have like 5 chapters set up on a document, and then we're tagging each other in each chapter. So that means to get the word counts, we've got to go back at the end of the night and do counts of what we did in each chapter. So sometimes we're just like, you know what, we're going to be lazy. I am not capturing this tonight. So we just estimate it. So yeah, that is my JoJo. She is the 60-pound mutt that she acts like a cat. So pretty sure if she could get in my lap, she would. If I'm up in the middle of the night, Liam will give me shade if I bother him. She will give shade and she will get sassy if you're not in the correct place. Like, she knows that I should be in the recliner at a certain time frame, and she'll get sassy with me because I'm not in the recliner. She's got a pet bed here in my office and also in the living room next to the recliner. So that's in my office right there. Cat's still waking up, making coffee now. Coffee is necessary today, I'm telling you. Getting there. Thanks, driving peeps cray cray. Glad to hear. I'd be driving my hubs crazy recovering too. Oh, James and I have driven each other crazy when it comes to both of our recoveries. So yeah. Oh, Liam acts like a cat too. Yeah, she'll even do the poof thing, you know, like they'll come up to you and poof against your legs for attention. Yep. Haha, yes, we estimate. Liam does that. If I'm on the couch at 8 p.m. and not in bed, he stands there and stares at me. Did I stutter? It is time for bed. Milo gives me side-eye and over-the-shoulder side-eye a lot. Milo's also funny because her Milo is, oh gosh, the breed just left my brain. Short guy with the poofy tail. Anyway, he will hop up whenever he thinks she's got food. So he'll be like, you won't see him, and then all of a sudden you'll see a head and ears pop up. It's funny. Corgi butt. That's it. Corgi. He said corgi. All right. Well, if nobody else has anything to share about what you've done, I think we can go ahead and get into a quick cleanup sprint. Let's see. 36. 20-minute sprint. I think that'll work. Let me fix that for you guys. Get rid of the JoJo picture. Pull up the countdown again. I love the versatility of this thing. All right, reset, but pause because I need to make it 20 minutes. There we go. All right, 20 minutes, and then you get to be released into the wild. Woohoo! We made it! And I have found out that Laura is getting ready for her sprint stream. So she's available. You can find her by using the playlist link that I put up there, or further up in the chat, I did post hers and Kay's links in case you need them. And let me get over here to the chat. For those that are just coming in, we had some technical difficulties earlier, so that's why you do not see me on the screen. We, adapted. Adaptation is good. So let's go back up here. I've got a little bit of time left, not a lot, so I'm not going to keep you for long, and I'm not going to go over the chat very much. But I did want to say good morning to Alicia, who also has a lovely channel, in case you can get to her. Let me see where. I was going to see if I could highlight it, but here we go. Hello and good morning. Just popping in to say hi and hit the like button, getting my morning coffee and taking the youngling to school. Yes. Good morning. I hope that I have caught everybody. I know that Kat came in and I put the For the Love of Words February challenge link up here for everybody. And then Dawn's complaining about the shortness situation, something that she can't help. Mel's coming by, popping in to boop the like button. Keiko's coming by, did dishes, cooked and ate lunch. Woohoo! We have that handled too. Yep, I joined last night. I was like, wait, why am there so many things, so many people that I haven't subscribed to? So I will have lots of new sprints and also Booktube and Authortube channels that I can go and have fun with. Yee-hoo. You're welcome for the host, and maybe next time you'll get to see my lovely face. But until then, you guys have a wonderful time today and the rest of the week. Okay? Okay.